It's a conversation every parent dreads. That moment your child looks at the home you have poured your life into, not with love but with ambition. A home filled with memories and sacrifices suddenly feels like it has been sized up as just an asset, a stepping stone for their next big plan. This is the story of the Sharma family, but it is a story playing out in countless homes across India. It is a story of love, pressure, and the desperate search for security. The air in the Sharma's living room is thick with tension. Mr. Sharma, a man in his late 70s, grips the arm of his chair, his knuckles white. Across from him stands his elder son, sharp and impatient, holding a stack of papers. Rohan, the younger son, watches from the doorway, his heart sinking with every word. Papa, just sign it, the elder son insists, his voice slicing through the silence. This business deal is a golden opportunity. It will set our entire family up for life. Mr. Sharma's voice trembles, but his eyes are firm. My life is this house. The memories of your mother are in these walls. This home is for your family's security, not for your risky deals. I'm your son. I have a right to this property, his son fires back, his frustration boiling over. But does he? In the eyes of Indian law, can your child actually force you to sign away the home you own? The answer is a powerful, resounding no, and it is an answer that every single parent in India needs to know. Section 1, the fundamental question: your property, your rights. The fight in the Sharma family brings up a painful but crucial question. What are your rights over the property you have worked your entire life to build? Can your children just lay a claim to it while you are still alive? So many people believe that children automatically get a share in their parents' property. This is one of the biggest and most dangerous misconceptions in Indian family law. To understand your rights, you first have to know the difference between two types of property: ancestral and self acquired. That distinction is everything. Ancestral property is simply put property that has been inherited through a single male line for up to four generations in a joint Hindu family without being divided. In this kind of property, children, including daughters, thanks to the 2005 amendment of the Hindu Succession Act, gain a right to it just by being born. They are joint heirs, and a father cannot just sell or will this property away without their consent. But the house at the center of the Sharma's family's fight, like most properties owned by parents today, is self-acquired property. That is anything you have bought with your own money or received as a gift or through a will. And here the law is crystal clear. As the owner, you have complete and absolute rights over it. You can sell it, gift it, lease it, or will it to anyone you choose. Your children, son, daughter have no legal claim to your self acquired property during your lifetime. A 2016 Delhi High Court judgment, for instance, affirmed that an adult son has no legal right to live in his parents' self acquired house. He can only live there as long as they allow it. The Supreme Court has consistently backed this up, stating that children don't just get rights to a property by being part of the family, it belongs to you and you alone. So when Mr. Sharma's son claims he has a right to the house, he is legally wrong. The house is his father's self-acquired asset and Mr. Sharma's decision is final. Section 2, the Legal Shield, the Senior Citizens Act of 2007. Knowing you have the right to say no is empowering, but what if you have already said yes? What if out of love or under emotional pressure you have already transferred your property to your child only to be neglected or treated badly afterwards? It is a tragically common scenario. Many parents give their home to their children assuming they will be cared for in their old age. But when that promise is broken, they are often left feeling helpless with no home and nowhere to go. This is exactly why the Indian Parliament created a powerful legal shield, the Maintenance and Welfare of Parents and Senior Citizens Act of 2007. This law was designed specifically to protect the lives and property of senior citizens. Its most critical provision is Section 23. This section is a game changer. It says that if a senior citizen transferred their property to a child on the condition that they would be provided for and that child fails to do so, the transfer can be cancelled. The law considers a transfer like that to be the result of fraud or undue influence. This gives a parent the incredible power to go to a maintenance tribunal and essentially void the gift or transfer deed, getting their property back. The whole point of the act is to make sure that love and affection are not used as weapons against parents. If the core promise of care is broken, the transfer itself can be broken. High courts across the country have reinforced this. The Madras High Court has ruled that parents can take back the property if they do not receive the promised care, even if that condition was not written down in the deed. The courts recognize that in a transfer from a parent to a child, the expectation of care is implicit. So even if Mr. Sharma's son had emotionally blackmailed him into signing the papers, the Senior Citizens Act would give him a legal path to reverse that decision if he was neglected later on. It is a safety net designed to prevent the very tragedy that so many parents fear. Section 3, the sanctity of private property, a constitutional guarantee. The protection given to parents like Mr. Sharma is not just based on specific act, it is rooted in the very foundation of the Indian law, the Constitution. While the right to property is no longer a fundamental right, it is a constitutional right under Article 308. This means no one can be deprived of their property except by the authority of law. This principle was powerfully reinforced in a landmark 2024 Supreme Court judgment in the case of Property Owners Association versus State of Maharashtra. A nine-judge bench ruled that private property is not just some material resource of the community that the government can take over for redistribution. By a 7-2 majority, the court put strict limits on the state's power to interfere with private property. While this case was about the government's power, its spirit strengthens the right of every individual property owner. Think about it. If the Constitution protects your property from the immense power of the state, it certainly protects it from the demands of a relative, including your own child. The Supreme Court's verdict sends a clear message. The right to own and enjoy the property you have earned is a cornerstone of our legal system. It is a right that can be easily trampled not by the government and certainly not by a greedy child. This judgment solidifies Mr. Sharma's position. His home is his sanctuary protected by law and now reaffirmed by the highest court in the land. His ownership is absolute. Conclusion, the resolution and your takeaway. Let us go back to the Sharma living room. Armed with his knowledge, maybe shared by his concerned younger son Rohan, Mr. Sharma's whole demeanor changes. The fear is gone, replaced by a quiet strength. He looks at his elder son not with anger but with solid resolve. No, he says, his voice now steady. I will not sign. This house is my security and the law protects my right to it. It is not a commodity for your business. There is no shouting, no big dramatic sin. There is only the firm, unshakable power of a parent who knows his rights. The elder son facing a father who cannot be legally forced or emotionally bullied eventually backs down. The crisis passes, and while the emotional scars might remain, the home is safe. The Sharma family story is a lesson for every parent and every child in India. Property should be a source of security and not sorrow. It is the fruit of your life's labor and it is yours to control. Here is what you need to remember. Know your property. Is it ancestral or self-acquired? If you bought it yourself, your rights are absolute during your lifetime. Your children cannot legally claim a share. You can say no. You are under zero legal obligation to transfer your self-acquired property to anyone. You cannot be forced or coerced into it. The 2007 Act is your shield. If you already transferred property expecting care and are now being neglected, the Senior Citizens Act of 2007 could help you revoke that transfer. A will is your voice. To make sure your wishes are followed after you are gone, the best tool you have is a clear registered will. This lets you decide who gets what and helps prevent fights among your heirs. By understanding your rights, you can protect your legacy, your security, and your peace of mind. Conclusion, the law is on your side. Your property is meant to give you comfort in your golden years, not become a source of conflict and a headache. If this story resonated with you or if you have ever worried about this issue in your own family, please share your thoughts in the comments below. Your experience could help someone else feel a little less alone. And if you found this information valuable, please subscribe for more content that empowers you with legal knowledge. Know your rights and protect your future.